For those of you out here from counties where you're the stewards actually of your taxpayers' money, I would pose a rhetorical question, and that question is, what indigent defendant do you fear most? Now, you all have issues with repeat offenders that stay in your jail. You all have issues with writ writers. You all have issues, I'm sure, with those folks that decide that they want to sue your jail or sue your sheriff or sue a police officer. But I would suggest, and you can see from what's on the screen up here, that probably the indigent defendant that you fear most is the one that's charged with a capital offense and your prosecutor has decided to seek the death penalty. That can literally break counties. It can take counties to the point of bankruptcy. It can take counties and force a prosecutor to make a decision that I can't seek what I think is an appropriate sentence in this case, which would be a death penalty, simply because we don't have the funds to do it and we don't have the political wherewithal at this point to raise our tax base in order to fund one of these. And so you've got to be a little bit frightened of that. And so I think in response to that issue and some others concerning quality of representation issues, the task force funded this first office of its kind in the state of Texas, which is dedicated solely to the defense of people charged, indigent defendants charged with capital murder that are looking at the death penalty. And that's what we're all about. I'm going to go very briefly over, because I know we do have some time constraints. Very briefly, those of you in jurisdictions know that the way that we do this system now is that 2 qualified attorneys are required to be appointed to represent indigent capital defendants. They come from a list that's maintained by a capital selection committee within the administrative region. There also is required to be on that team a mitigator and a fact investigator. So at the very least, our law mandates 4 people that are required to be appointed. And honestly, in Texas, while we have a lot of great qualified attorneys, not many attorneys want to do this type of work, and so there was a shortage. So really 2 factors led to the creation of this office. One was the cost involved, and the other was a shortage of qualified personnel. There were a potential of 85 counties in our region that could choose to participate in our program. Out of the 85, we've had 65 that have signed interlocal agreements with us. Our region covers over 64,000 square miles, and we service a population of just under 1.5 million people. It's a tremendously large area that we're trying to cover. As indicated, our main office, we're staffed in Lubbock with 9 employees. In Lubbock, we have 3 attorneys, 3 mitigators, a fact investigator, and 2 office assistants. Tony has opened an office for us in Amarillo. He has been there since the latter part of July when he started working. We also have an office that's opened in Midland now. We opened it the 1st of July, and it is staffed by Rusty Wall, an attorney in Midland who joined our staff. You can see the purple area at the top there are the 7th and 9th judicial administrative regions. That's what we cover. It's about 1/3 of the land mass of Texas. We literally have somebody out of the office on a daily basis, usually a team, that are gone to various jurisdictions within our region to visit with clients, to interview witnesses, to talk with judges, to talk with prosecutors. So we travel a lot. Right now we have pending cases in these counties listed. We have Crane, Deaf Smith County, Ector County, Lubbock County, Potter County, 2 in Randall County, 1 in Reeves County, 1 in Taylor County, and 1 in Tom Green County. We have 10 pending now. We have 3 cases, capital cases, that we have disposed of already. And I've got to tell you, do a little bragging for the office. I'm really proud of the office because I started this position November the 13th of last year. We weren't even scheduled to take any cases until January 1st. And I started with my administrative assistant, a lady that had worked for me in my private practice for 15 years. And then we staggered our personnel on board, and we weren't even fully staffed until the end of July of this year. We've just finished our first fiscal year, which we cut short personnel-wise about 1.5 months because I didn't start until mid-November. But we've disposed of 3 cases already. 1 was a life without parole, 1 was a 50-year prison sentence, and 1 was a 7-year prison sentence. And these were all plea bargains. None have gone to trial at this point. I wanted to break this down, and there are a couple caveats here that that one, as I just told you, we weren't fully staffed for the entire year. And so some of these cases have occurred at varying times. And what I'm going to go through, I'm going to tell you about the cases that we have pending, and then I'm going to tell you just the date that we were appointed on the case. And I'm going to break it down into the hours that we've got on this. This case in Crane County, we weren't appointed on this until July the 28th of 2008. We break this down into first chair, second chair, mitigator, investigator hours that we've expended on this case to date, and then support staff and interns. And then I'll give you some dollar figures that I think will maybe surprise you a little bit when we get through there. But on the case in Crane County, that we've expended the 69.45 hours on that case, and it's been a short period of time that we've been appointed on it. We have a case in Smith County. We have 196.2 hours in that so far. And also, the other caveat I would provide is that these don't include think tank or office hours. One of the advantages of doing the work this way is that we have weekly meetings with staff face-to-face. The others, we're just talking to each other all the time about these cases, which most capital teams don't get to do. If I have a question about a case, I can go to the office right next door in the same building and say, what do you think about this, or what should we do on this? And it's a great, great advantage in this, because most times your teams in these types of cases are fragmented. I know we have some judges here that I know have probably presided over death cases, and they spend a lot of time refereeing fights, I think, in chambers between the attorneys and the mitigator and the investigator on which way to go. And by doing it this way, we're able to sit down. So these are only actual hours that we